Greetings, 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 peace and greetings. Each way here, and we are back on another Thursday with mental health and what does that look like? And please excuse my locks; they not acting right today. They got their mind they own today, but we gonna make it work, okay? Well, I just want to say first and foremost, thank you again for tuning in. This is a real journey for me. And today we have such a special guest. Her name, this is my sacred sister. This is my sacred sis from the Queen of Food camp. Me and her ascended together. We was in Circle One together. She was on a show previously with our other sacred sisters. Queen Goddess Jah. She's gonna, talk about letting go and through Africa, healing people, healing women in particular, while healing herself and healing her ancestral bloodline, while just out here just living life, honey. So I cannot wait to chop it up with my sis. She is such a firecracker and a sweetheart at the same time. So this is going to be a good one. So I just, I have to start with a prayer. I give thanks to the Most High. Thank you. Thank you for your breath of life in my lungs. No matter what transpires, no matter what happens, no matter what challenges may arise, as long as I have your breath in my body, I am doing excellent. We are all doing excellent. Thank you. No matter what ailments may arise, whether someone is blind or deaf or have missing limbs, high blood pressure or anxiety or depression, as long as we have breath in our body, is another day to be great, another day to go on our journey, another day to live life, another day to resurrect, another day to be born, reborn. So I just want to say thank you for rebirthing me every single morning, because no matter what happened the day before, with your breath in my body is another day to go for my dreams again, no matter what took in place. So I want to say thank you for that, Most High. I greatly appreciate you. Whew. Give thanks to my Ori. Thank you, Ori, for not shutting the gate on me. Thank you. Thank you for leading me to my destiny. Thank you for leading me down the right path. I greatly, 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 greatly appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you to my assigned guides. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for guiding me and helping me on this journey that I'm on called life. Thank you for providing for me. Thank you for keeping me safe. Thank you for the talks. Thank you for the cleansing. Thank you for the blessing. Thank you for choosing to watch over me while I'm here living this journey on this earth. Thank you. Thank you to my Egun, my ancestors. Thank you. Thank you for showing up for me strong. Thank you for the medicine. Thank you for making way. Thank you for closing the doors that needed to be closed, and thank you for opening the doors that needed to be open. Thank you, and thank you for choosing me to represent you. I am greatly appreciative. I give thanks. Ashe, 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 ashe. Oh yes. You know we got to bless it up. You know this lock right here just don't want to act right. I had my hair in another hat earlier. So I forgot that I was gonna be throwing on my other hat. So we're gonna look a little cray cray today. Y'all gonna have to bear with me, okay? Okay. So last week I spoke a little about The Alchemist, the book called Alchemist, which is this book right here by Paulo Coelho. This book, if you haven't picked up this book yet, please do so. If you are stuck between a fork in the road and you don't know which way to go, pick up that book. That book, I read that book at least 4 times, and I know I'm going to read it a few more times. Every time I read it, I see something new. Every time I read it, I get a different message. So this today's episode is about letting go, right? And in this book, The Alchemist, it's a boy in here who was trying to find his personal legend, meaning what is on his heart to do. Why did he come to Earth? And he just kept having these dreams of him finding a treasure. He just kept having these dreams over and over and over and over and over and over again. He was a sheep. He was a shepherd, so he cared for sheep all year round. He just had his flock, and he just would just roam to different towns, and he knew which way to go at which time of the year, things of that nature. So now it's on his mind even more to find his personal legend. So he just so happens to stop in a town one day, drinking some wine and sitting at the bench and watching the market, just everybody go back and forth about their day. And a king comes up to him and says, "I have a proposition for you. I know you want to find your personal legend. Everything is written." And he said, "And I could tell you how to get it and where to get it, but you have to give up 10% of your profit, 10% of your flock." And he didn't want to do that because he was so stuck in his ways. But he thought about it over and over and over and over and over. And you can't get something for nothing. You have to let go in order to receive your blessings. That was the whole point of that part of the story. And I know that firsthand. Being that I went through so much trauma in my life, I was holding on to the trauma. That was my security blanket. And I didn't know how to let go, so my hands kept staying closed. And my blessings did not come to me until I opened my hands. How can I receive my blessings? How can I catch my blessings if my hands is closed? Because of whatever it may be. Is it because of trauma? Is it because of lack of trust? Is it because of insecurity? Is it because I'm afraid? Fear? No. So once I realized that I was holding myself back by holding on to what no longer served me, I was able to release and open my hands and receive my blessings. And with that being said, we're going to jump right into it. So, like I said earlier, this is my sacred sister, goddess queen Jamila Asata. She just travels the world, honey. She's from Atlanta. She's only in Atlanta right now. Previously, just visiting her family because she just was missing her family. But she's going to be back to Tanzania and Africa next month. But I just want to say this woman here is nothing short of amazement. She's done such impeccable work with healing women, healing herself. She's a medicine woman. I'm going to let her tell it. So without further ado, let's welcome Goddess Queen Jah.
Peace and greetings. Peace and
Peace and greetings, sis. How are you?
I am wonderful. It is always a pleasure to be in your presence. It's a pleasure to see your face. It is a pleasure to connect. You have ascended to a role in my life and
Oh,
children. So I have to honor that role. I have to. I say I
good thanks. Good thanks.
yes,
I say all. I say all.
yes,
Good thanks. Good
yes.
thanks for that.
Thank
So I just want to say thank you so kindly, for being on. We have connected on another level,
yeah,
We ascended together as sacred women,
we
uh,
did.
via Queen of Four. And that was a journey, okay?
Yes,
we both came in, everybody came in with what they had going on. But me and you was already kind of on the same path as healers already.
right.
But healers need healing as well.
Of
And we also need our time to ourselves to rejuvenate so that we can show up in the world, show up for the community as we should, and follow our personal legend.
absolutely.
Hence the alchemist. So I just want to say thank you for everything. Thank you for the talks. Thank you, thank you for the inspiration.
Of course.
Tell my future godson I said hello.
I will.
you know, so I know who you are, but
Yes.
tell the people who you are.
Okay. So, peace and greetings to all in our listening audience. I have been sharing the link out um, to my email subscribers and my Facebook page, and I know there's at least 5,000 people who follow me on different channels. So I feel like we should at least have 10% for this conversation. Okay, so that is just that is where we're going with all of this. So if you're watching this on the replay, just know, we're gonna next time we're gonna do better, right? We're gonna send out more emails and make sure you all know in advance. So give thanks and praise for growth. But I am Goddess Queen Ja'ash Jamila Asata Osset, and I am the owner of FreeTheFeminine.com. I am in the process of rebranding and really transitioning my business to AbundantAfricanGoddess.com. So if you want to stay connected, just make sure you follow me on Instagram or Facebook at Goddess Queen Ja'ast. I am a medicine woman. I am an indigenous woman. I am Kemetic. I am Nubian. I am goddess. I am queen. I am mother. I am creator of life. I'm
I am that I am, honey. Yes.
I am worth it. I am valuable. I am a priority. I am wealthy. I am rich. I am that I am.
I am that I am.
And in this I am capacity, I have been an author. So Etoy was with me on my birthing experience. She was one of my doulas in giving birth to my
Ashe.
first book, which is called Goddess Awakening, and it was
Ashe.
birthed during our Sacred Women program, and it's available on Kindle and Audible. So I'm now an author, and I am an international speaker now, having lived in 12 countries in the world. I am a retreat leader, and I am excited to be here to share with you my story of letting go.
Yes. And I can't wait to jump into it. So you moved to Africa. You left everything.
I did.
Um, your children, your husband, car, everything, and said, "This is it. I'm gonna make a transition, and I am getting out of here, and I'm going to Africa."
Yeah.
Why did you do that?
So let me first start by saying that I grew up in America, but my parents are from Trinidad and Tobago.
Mm,
And having my parents, I talked in the exchange that we had in a previous one of your videos, having my parents specifically in my really gave me a sense of holistic foundation. It really set the tone for a strong connection to life outside of America. And so
mm,
um, during during the time that I was, growing up and being raised here in America, there were things that I started to notice were American that didn't really exist outside of the country. You know, in America, okay, in America, we find ourselves doing a lot of comparative living, you know, comparing ourselves with others, keeping up with the Joneses, you know, judging ourselves and thinking that we're not enough
mm,
because we didn't do
mm,
something. So
mm,
there's so many um, mental mind games that the matrix system plays on us, and not just plays on us as humans, but plays on us as Black women, plays on us as Indigenous women, plays on us as a community, plays on us as a culture, plays on us as a beautiful woman is even, you know, traveling through life with mental mindset games. You think you pretty, who do you think you are? You know, you need to humble yourself. You're not all of that. There's so many messages that are constantly being infiltrated to your mind that you're not even aware of, that at a certain point all of those messages really started to take a toll on me. And Empress, if
mm.
it's possible, I'm hearing my feedback, I think, through your microphone. I don't know if anybody else is hearing it, but is it possible to mute all sound in the, I don't know if it's background sound or what, but it's reflecting on, I don't know if anybody in the audience here.
You hear yourself? That has to be you. I don't hear myself.
Yeah, I mean, I am hearing my. Is it possible to mute it, to mute the mic while just so I'm not like distracted by my? Okay, thank you. I don't hear it anymore. Okay, so so yeah, it really started to take a toll on me, and I spent a lot of my time and my energy overthinking, over analyzing, worrying about what others thought, comparing myself, starting projects and then stopping, feeling like a failure. Um, just really, you know, a constant stop and go, constant stop and go, constant stop and go, because the messages that I kept getting from the outside world was, why are you wasting your time? This ain't gonna work. You're not good enough. You don't. You're not. You don't belong here. And I remember being in boarding school, actually. So interesting, boarding school. My mother was a single mother, but she really valued education for us. And she was willing to do whatever she needed to make sure that we had access to the best education. So in middle school, I went to boarding school. And I remember being in boarding school and having a very, very strange experience. Um, when I started the school, there were only about 5 Black girls there. And of course, we're the only Black girls there. So we're this tight, right? And at a certain point, um, they kind of deemed me their leader, right? I was the girl who was willing to say what I wanted to say, do what I wanted to do. I had a little bit more confidence than everybody else. So, you know, they would come along. I'd be like, let's go eat. They'd come along. And so we all were very, very close. And then at a certain point, maybe in the middle of the school year, a young lady came to the school, and she because she was new, she wasn't able to kind of get in the flow of just hanging out and being with us, and she saw me as competition. So I remember sitting in class one day, and she got so irate, she got very angry, she got very aggressive because you know, she was speaking to me and I didn't like how she was speaking to me, so I was speaking to her with the same energy. And then she got so irate that she stood up and she threw something across the room at me. And even though it didn't hit me, the teacher who wasn't in the room ran back in the room, and she looked at us both and she said, "You all are fighting." And she decided to suspend me from school. And there were no questions asked. There was no opportunity to clarify. There was no breaking down of what exactly, you know, was taking place. And it was a very poignant reminder to me that when it comes to this system, they don't care. They don't care. That you are not their concern. You are not their priority. All of this talk about pro-choice, pro-life, they don't care about your black baby. That's not about you. That's not about me. So there was so many reiterations throughout my childhood and throughout my life that this system is not for me. This structure is not for me. This environment is not my ideal environment. And when I got confirmation that it was time that this particular environment is not where I was going to thrive in, it was through my experience in traveling to Bahia, Brazil. I went to Bahia in 2019. And when I went to Bahia, I went directly after I hosted my very first Goddess conference in Atlanta, Georgia. I did the Goddess conference. I did a 3-day retreat in the Georgia mountains that was a liberation retreat. Everybody was nude. Okay, we are freeing ourselves. We are freeing our mind. We are letting go of body shame. But we're not doing any of that. So I did these 2 events back to back, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do these events, and I'm going to Brazil on Monday. And that's what I did. I did the events. I went to Brazil on Monday. And when I got to Bahia and I started to integrate with the land and the environment and start feeling into myself, that's when I knew, okay, America, your time, the countdown clock has begun, because I will no longer be able to subscribe to a system, to an environment, to a country that doesn't truly rock with me or my children. You don't give a hoot about me, and you don't give a hoot about my family. So really,
How was that transition process?
I mean, when it was Brazil, it was just temporary. So it was just me visiting the country, seeing the layout, taking in the air, integrating with the spirituality, really being at one with all of that. But in 2020, when the pandemic hit, I had already been warned. I had already been warned that my relationship, my marriage was out of alignment. I had already been warned about that. I had been married for almost 13 years, and I had already been warned that this is no longer a person that I could grow and evolve with in the way that I wanted to grow and evolve. And so I'd already been warned about that. But when 2020 hit and everything started to shut down, that is when I had to sit down and say, you know, what is it that I need to sustain my spirit? Because I'm not willing to go into depression again. I'm
That part. Before you continue, that part. What is it that I need to sustain my spirit? We often too much give, and we don't recognize that we have to, give ourselves first. We cannot pour from an
right,
empty cup. And I had to
right.
realize that as well. Thank you for that, sis. Ashe.
Ashe, Ashe. And that's the biggest thing for me, Toy. Like I and to everyone who's listening, to all the priestesses and witches and yami and spirit angels, all of the forces from human beings to extraterrestrial entities, let it be known forever and ever, let it ring through the chambers of life, that Goddess Queen Jamila Offset is not ever going to advocate for or teach something that I have not tried, tested, proved, lived by, applied to my life, mastered. I'm not going to teach you something that I don't know. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And for me, I am the self-love specialist. I have seen lots of people talk about self-love, but I exhibit it. If I am willing to put everything that I have into myself, because people love to talk about, oh, let me use my children, let me Let me talk about my children. I can't do this because of my kids. People will come up with anything to say. I can't attend that workshop because of my kids. Oh, I have a new baby, so I can't do this because of my baby. Oh, that's bogus. Because the same way with money, if you needed $3,000 for a heart transplant, you'll find it. You will find it. 3,000 will call. Money will fall on you if you needed it right now. Okay. The same way that happens, it's the same way that we are capable of doing anything once there is a foundation of self-love. That is why I teach self-love, because self-love for me is the gateway. If I am noticing that I am not growing with my health, then I have to sit back and ask myself, well, goddess queen, is that loving? Are you putting loving things in your body? Is that food that you're getting ready to eat, is it loving? If there's a person who I'm getting ready to interact with, even that is a barometer of self-love. Because if you love yourself, are you going to spend time hanging out with that person? A young lady put up a Facebook post and said something to the extent of, this guy, he doesn't realize that I'm exactly what he wants. And he's trying, I want to be there for him, but he's not allowing me. Sweetheart, sweetheart, is giving me self-sacrifice, is giving me martyr. And Jesus the Christ, he's already come.
And
We've already had that story.
self-sacrifice is not the way, especially
It's
us as
not.
women with womb. Hello, that part. We are the creators. We are the healers,
That's it.
whether they like it or believe it or not. You
That's
know.
it.
I want to talk about I want you to finish talking about your transition because I know the story of your transition.
Mm-hmm.
For those that want to let go but are afraid to let go, and they want to
Mm-hmm.
go. You had a big vision, you had your messages and things of that nature. How did you
Yeah.
feel inside with your mentally? Talk about
Right.
that part and finish the story of your transition because you've done this and you've been doing this for a while for the women that has done this. And I want to say a shout out to my cousin Clemmy. She posted earlier. She said give thanks. She doesn't have any children, but she also moved to Ghana some years ago. So I just
Dang.
yes. So I
I'm
just
your
want to say
cousin.
I hope she's still watching. I love you, Clemmy. I love you, cuz, and I'm so proud of you. And I hope you're still tuning in because yes, she's all about self love and she's all about
Yeah.
the spiritual work as well. So go ahead, sis.
So when 2020 hit, I really wanted to just figure out how to take care of myself. Because even though I was doing this work and coaching and leading women and facilitating in this way, um, like you said, I know I have to make myself a priority, and I do. And I had been through some really, really, really tough times, really tough. That year that I hosted the Goddess conference and the retreat, that was also the same year. It was the last year that I contemplated suicide, and I talk about that in my book Goddess Awakening. um it was the last year that I contemplated suicide because things were so challenging in my life that I was like, if there's this much resistance, then why am I here? That I was going through that process of really questioning, am I supposed to be here? Am I supposed if I'm supposed to be here, then why does it seem like there's brick walls all around me? Why do they feel like they're closing in? So that the years in the years prior, my youngest child had been institutionalized in a mental health institution because he was dealing with depression and he was dealing with suicidal thoughts. Then I had my firstborn child who suffered from the same thing during the pandemic, during 2020. She was institutionalized as well. So there were so many layers of what felt like attacks. One of the things that we pride ourselves on is being a mom. And I'm like, obviously I'm doing something wrong. That, like, it just felt like everything was closing in. But one of the things I give thanks for is resilience. When you ask how resilience, I made commitments to myself long ago.
Sure.
I made commitments to myself long ago that I have not been willing to abandon. I have not been willing to let go of. I am not a sprinter. I run marathon. I'm a long haul runner. Okay. I'm an
Sure.
extended long distance. Okay. And
Sure.
for me, I was born into chaos. I was born into Mercury retrograde. That's how I was born into that. So chaos was all laced. It was all throughout my childhood. It was laced. It's like brick by brick, and my foundation was just chaos, conflict, challenge, all throughout. And yet I made a soul contract. When I pulled my Akashic records and I looked at what my soul was composed of, I see that I in my soul, in my spirit, there is a commitment to grow, to evolve, to become, to be in this life. Okay. So when 2020 hit, and I was like, okay, what does my spirit need? I received my first set of instructions in January. I did a ceremony in January, and in that ceremony, I was told where to go, and they told me to go to Africa. I was told specifically to go to Egypt because I am all set incarnate. And they said, go back and see yourself. Go back and see who you are and how you were created to be in this life. So I had to go to Egypt, and then they told me to go to Gambia. Okay. And my father, he was already deceased, but when I got the instructions, he came and delivered them to me himself. So I said, okay, give thanks. That's where I'm going.
Good
So
thanks.
that was in January 2020. In January, we had not been advised that the pandemic existed. So it wasn't until I think March that they started to put out news about this pandemic. But in January, I knew, okay, I have to go to Africa. So in March, when they finally announced the pandemic and said, oh, we're having this pandemic, no one can go anywhere, flights are canceled, I said, I don't care. I'm going to Africa. You can say whatever it is that you want to say. This year, you will find me in Africa. Okay. And I asked my spirit, what do you need, spirit? What do you want? What do you need? And the first thing it said is, free me. I need freedom. Free me.
Ooh,
You're
wow.
in this bondage. You have me in a cage. Free me. Free me. This relationship that you're in it's not serving us. It's not serving us. It's not giving us what we need to sustain ourselves. It's not connecting. It's not providing intimacy. It's not providing life. It's not pouring into me. Free me. And so I said, okay, say less. And, I know I'm saying it simply. In reality, I've worked with women who struggle to leave a partner after a year. It's been a year. And you're saying, I don't know if this relationship is healthy. And they're saying, I can't leave him. And it's only been 1 year. So I know it's what I'm saying is not easy, but what I'm saying is when it comes to them, to having the relationship, or to putting yourself in bondage and being in a cage and hurting yourself and demoralizing yourself and demeaning yourself and allowing someone to step over you and allowing someone to disrespect you, that's not possible.
That's not
That's
healthy.
That's not healthy. That's no longer an option. You're wondering where your mental health issues are coming from. Look at who you are sleeping in the bed with every night. Who
Because
are you?
energy vampires are real.
That is it.
Energy vampires are real.
That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. And so much of what we have been programmed to do always looks like, let me give XXX the benefit of the doubt. That's what we've been programmed to do. yes, your intuition starts ringing and telling you, sis, this ain't it. And you say, but wait, please, wait. It's better. Wait, but I really like him. He really likes me. We look good together. Look at our selfies. I took him out with him, and he met my family. We went to the festival. We had a good time. You start coming up with all of these reasons why you'd rather stay in bondage. And a lot of it is just programming. A lot of that is just old programming. Stop giving people the benefit of the doubt over your own heart and intuition. Trust yourself first. Trust you first. You came in with you.
Yes.
That's how you came into this world. You came in you. You will leave out you. So when it comes to knowing how to let go, one of the biggest pieces of letting go is learning to trust yourself. Learning to trust you again. One of the most challenging conversations I have to have with my students sometimes, or even people who are just considering enrolling in my course, is just the concept of, if you are feeling empty, if you're feeling down, if you're feeling like your love tank is low, you don't increase your love tank by trying to find someone to fill it. It's an inside out job. It starts from inside. You have to fill it on the inside so that after it starts to flow out, then you can connect with people from overflow. You connect with them from that. And now at this point in my life, I give thanks and I give praise, because I can look back at myself and see that at the time, in 2020, I had really suffered. I can look at my pictures, I can look at my videos, and I look like I was suffering. I look like it. But if I don't care, if I'm making my children, my man, my woman, my house, my job, if I'm making everything else more important than me, then what? Who can prioritize me more than me? It's not possible. And I no longer see the value in having someone
Right.
to try and legitimize and fill my heart's cup. But that's my job. So when it comes
No one can
to
feel that. And I had to learn that as well.
no one can feel that. And it's not their
Mm-mm.
responsibility. It's my responsibility. It's
That
such an
part.
honor.
That part.
It's an honor.
And nobody can feel it the way you can, because nobody don't know
That's
you the way
it.
you.
That's it.
That
And
part.
I
That
don't
part.
know if you've ever seen this video of Eartha Kitt, and she's having this conversation. She's sitting outside. She's like leaning on this table
I
and she's
serve it.
talking. You've
I
seen that.
serve
You've
it.
seen that. And
About the
she's like,
man.
right. And she's like,
I serve
you
it.
know, submit myself, or get my what?
She said, for what?
Like, she's
For what?
so tickled.
For what?
She's saying that she refuses to feel as if she has uh give something to someone because he's the gift. She's like, that doesn't make any sense. If anything, I have to love myself so thoroughly that I get to share. He gets to receive. He gets to receive the essence of my wholeness. He gets to receive
Mm-hmm.
the essence of me whole. Why are we giving ourselves? We're giving other people fractured versions of us.
Ah.
I call it crumbs. I call it. People will get mad at me. They'll get mad. They will leave this live and they will not come back because they are mad. I have offended them.
But
But
you know what? That means it struck a nerve, it's triggering them for some reason. That means they got to heal that part.
you may need to
Maybe
put
they need
trigger
to
warning
heal
in this thing too. Put it. I'm joking. But I talk about crumbs, I have this course, the compassion course. And in this course, I talk about crumbs. Hey, I talk about crumbs because crumbs has become it's become my lifestyle for many of us. We accept crumbs. We are so hungry for love. Well, am I empty? I don't have. I miss having someone. I want sex. My body is weak. My mind is weak. And then we walk along the street and we see crumbs, and we'll pick up crumbs and accept crumbs, and it doesn't make any sense to me because I know who I am. I know who I am.
That part.
I don't call myself Goddess Queen Jah asked. I am Goddess Queen Jah asked. I am. I am Goddess. I am Queen. I am Goddess. I am Queen. So for me, it wouldn't even make sense for me to be the table and to have crumbs on my table. Why? And that's how I felt in 2020. I was like, I am here and this life is feeling pretty crummy. So it doesn't feel like my life. So I started to look at all the things that I had been entertaining and putting my energy to instead of putting it into myself. I had a husband. I had a girlfriend. I was in a polyamorous relationship. So I'd been with him almost 13 years. I've been with her 5 years. I had 4 children, or I have 4 children. I had a cat and a half because my daughter had a cat as well. I had a home. I had a brand new Lexus that my husband had brought me for Mother's Day, just, some months before. And I had friends. I had other family members living in Atlanta. And I started to look very hard at my life. And I said, you know what? I'm good on all of this. I'm good. Because one of the lessons that had come to me and kept coming, would not leave me alone. Buddha came. He started to come at the end of 2019 into 2020. But in 2020, he kept coming. He kept coming. Everywhere I was going, I was seeing Buddha pictures, Buddha statues, Buddha articles everywhere. And I'm like, I'm not really interested in Buddha. You know what I mean? Like, that's not really, that's not me. That's not my culture. I don't connect to that. Thanks, but no thanks, right? Pass, right? But the messages kept coming. And finally, I met an elder. And this elder I met, Miss Vivian, she had just turned 77 in 2020. And I walked in her house, and when I walked in her house, lo and behold, she had the sitting room, and who's in the sitting room? Buddha, right? So I'm like, Miss Vivian,
Oh man.
right. We are African people. So I'm like, what are you doing with this Buddha here? And she's like, girl, you don't know who Buddha is? I'm like, well, is there something I should know? And she prompts me to look at, I'm sure everybody has seen that statue of Buddha with the coils. They look like coils in the head. They look like this, right? It's like small little knots. And she says, what does that look like to you? Let's take away the face. Put an African face there. What does that look like to you? I said, it looks like Bantu knots. She said, and what Chinese person do you know who can Bantu knot their hair? I'll wait. And so I had to really start to think about that. I was like, I got nothing. And she's like, there's so many master teachers that have existed, that have come along and taught, but they could never be given the proper accolade and credit because they were the wrong color. They were the wrong hue. They didn't meet the narrative. She said, Buddha is one of those. And so I really started to think and ponder and accept and embrace what I was learning at the time. And I asked that energy, Buddha, what are you here to teach me? And there was one line that came up, in one line only. And that line was the theme. It became the theme for 2020. It said, attachment is the root of all suffering. Period. That was
Period. And let me tell you something. And I witnessed that firsthand when I had that nervous breakdown. When I came home, I realized that it was so much attachments to me, and it was showing up in my body. I was suffering. My mind was suffering. My health was suffering. Everything, my life was suffering. And I realized, I said to myself, oh my God, I'm holding on to so many attachments. I mean, attachments from old jobs from 7 years ago, 8 years, 10 years ago. Conversations
wow.
that I had with someone that I wasn't able to say how I felt.
Wow.
You understand what I'm trying to say? Right. I didn't know that I buried it within me. But
Wow.
it's just like when you have a water balloon and you just keep filling that water balloon up and keep filling up, filling up, filling up. Eventually, it's going to burst, and that's what happened to me. It just kept getting more attachments, more pain, more attachment, and I'm going through life, thinking I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, but I'm burying the pain with mundane things. And when I had that nervous breakdown, it was really a cleansing for me because now I'm sensitive to all the energy. Now was my body, it was a cleansing. Okay, you know what? We are wiped clean. We are
Right.
removing everything. Removing
That.
everything. And I also want to speak, I say, oh, also want to speak to Buddha, Mefedefun, Catherine Katie Mitchell, daughter of Etta Mitchell. Mefedefun, Etta Brown Mitchell, December 1st, 1913. Those is my Egun. Those are my ancestors. Those is my grandmother and my great grandmother.
Give thanks.
So
Give
my
thanks.
great grandmother she's Geechee Gullah. So when you talk about, I get it when you say I am. I had to tell somebody that, a few weeks ago. Like I know who I am. Like I am
Here.
royalty. In my past life, I was a queen. In
I
this life,
say.
I have royalty running through my veins.
I
My
say.
grandmother is a Geechee Gullah. My grandmother, her
Give thanks.
father was the king. Her father was the king of their tribe.
Wow. Wow.
Her her fa- her father went to the south because he had sex with a slave. He was messing with a slave, which is my great grandmother's mother. Was having interrelations with the slave, and when my great grandmother was born, she was born on a plantation. He left his tribe and went to go get my great grandmother and brought her back. Yes. So I get it. I completely get it. But her daughter, which is Catherine, which is my mother's mother, right before she passed, she had went and got Buddha. And I said all that to say, my great grandmother was very spiritual. She was the medicine woman. You would go to her house and she got all these roots and herbs up in her cabinet inside water in the bottom. And I was just like, what the hell is I was a kid. I didn't understand at the time of being that I'm a grown woman, and I'm
Now.
following my path. I get it,
Yes.
So when my grandmother went and got Buddha, it was a red Buddha, and she was so excited. She called my great grandmother. You coming over to that? And my grandmother came over to look at Buddha and approve it. She had to see what energy
Give
was with
thanks.
it. Was it really Buddha? You get it?
Yes,
You
I already
understand?
know.
So
I already
I said that to say, give thanks to you for bringing up Buddha
know.
because I have been really working with my grandmothers lately. They have been my healers through this process of me going through my nervous breakdown. So that was something when you said that, that's an omen to me that they are near and they hear me, and
Give thanks.
to relax and everything is okay. So give thanks to you for that. Give thanks.
Give thanks.
So how is your journey now? you know, because I always like to always like to end it on a good note. We talk about what we
Right.
went through and
Oh, we're
things of
ending
that
already. We
nature.
haven't even gotten to me leaving.
Okay, well, go
We're
ahead, do your
ending.
thing, girl. Go
Oh,
ahead. And you're
okay, all right.
leaving.
Because I want to make sure they not like, wait, did you end up going? Like, what happened? Did you, I talked about all the things leading up to letting go. But I want to make sure I offer, those who are listening, just a snapshot, because I'm working on my next book, to really chronicle my experience in letting go and my experience in traveling through 12 countries in 2 years. Um, one thing I will say is that when I left, first of all, I didn't tell people that I was leaving. I wanted to keep that to myself. Um, I didn't really want anyone's energy to get mixed up in my own. I didn't want anyone's fear. There's so many of us that are walking around with fear of Africa. we're afraid of ourselves. The programming is so deep. And after Buddha came and I started to do the detachment work and started with my husband and my girlfriend and moved out of the house and left my children with, my ex-husband, and returned my cat. After I started to do all this work of releasing all this energy, I found myself feeling really alone, feeling really unwell, feeling really saddened. And even though I know, or I knew at that time, that I had done the right thing, I still had to deal with the emotional ramifications of my actions. And that wasn't easy. The hardest part was not being around my children every day. I didn't want to remove them from the place that they called home, from their rooms, from their comfort zone. We were already going through so much in the pandemic. I didn't want to disturb their peace. And so I transitioned and I migrated, but I allowed them to stay there. And it was very hurtful. I remember spending my birthday by myself. And I remember feeling so saddened by that. Like, my birthday's tomorrow and I'm all alone. I'm all by myself. And that was something I had to deal with. I had to be in that darkness, be in that shadow, be in that sunken place, just with myself. So it wasn't easy. But when I finally transitioned, I bought my plane ticket. I bought a one-way plane ticket to Egypt. And when I bought that plane ticket, I bought it with such ease. I bought that thing easily. I was like, I'm out. I am out. I made some final commitments with my business. I shut everything down, and then I decided to just stay committed to my podcast, Rise of the Divine Feminine podcast, and to my membership, because I have my own private members community. And so after I did those things, I bought my ticket to Egypt and I left. And I left with, as I discussed before, my father's ashes and a suitcase, one suitcase. And I went to Egypt, and from there, the ball just started rolling. And, my friend was asking me, she was interviewing me and saying, well, weren't you afraid, financially, with shutting down your business, you're making all these moves so quickly. Like, weren't you afraid of where's the money coming from? I said, I felt a lot of things, but I didn't feel fear as much with money, because I know that living outside of the US is always it's 1/10 of the price. We pay a heavy price to live in this matrix. We pay a heavy price, from rent
Yeah.
prices, food prices,
God.
now gas prices. We pay heavy prices to be part of this system. But when I left knowing that all of my needs were met. I mean, my igungun, they weren't playing. My spirit guys, they weren't playing. Nothing was playing about me. Everything was like, go here, go there, do this, do that. Just trust us. We will not forsake you. We will not abandon you. Trust us. We have your back. Okay. So I walked in trust. I walked in faith. I walked knowing that I was gonna be good. And what was really surprising was how light I felt in my journey. But I had created a lot of space in clearing everything out. All of my attachments were gone. My stuff was gone. My furniture was gone. Everything was gone. We sold the house. Everything was gone. The car, everything. So I had all the space. I still have space to receive. To receive. And that's one of the most important things to remember when you're letting go. When you're letting go, try to put your focus not on what you are releasing, but what you are walking into. What will you gain? What will you gain? Keep your eye focused, not on, oh, I don't have this anymore. I don't have this, but what are you focused on coming? Because sometimes you are holding on, but it's just crumbs. Stop holding on to these crumbs. It's a crumb. Swipe your hands and wash your hands. It's crumbs. It's not chicken. It's chicken crumbs. It's not bread. It's crumbs. So that's something that we have to detach from and really ask, what exactly am I holding on to? Because if you really sit down and you really think about who you are, then you won't be so attached to having remnants in your life, to having shadows, to having what do they call it? Representatives. Buddha, like I said, that one message was, attachment is the root of all suffering. Being attached. So when you finally detach, you open yourself up to all the things that you actually want. I paint this picture for many of the women who are taking my course, because some people they take my self-love course because they are like, I have trauma, I have childhood wounds, blah 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 blah. But some people, they take my course because they're like, I really want to find love. I really want romance. I want this feeling. I want to be in a relationship. And this is the thing. I don't know if I should tell this in terms of talking about a person or generally speaking. I'm going to talk about someone. So I had a client and she came in and she really, had been through a string of bad relationships. And she said, okay, I'm ready to clean up my act. Like, I know it's me. I'm ready to clean up my act. Like, I'm ready to work on the things that are really hurting me. So I said, okay, let's start doing the work. So we started doing the work. And she was doing her work. And when I tell you, her vibration just started to increase, right? Things were increasing. So it's like when you think about a flower that's blooming, right? So it's starting small and it starts to bloom and it starts to straighten its petals, right? And then what does the flower do? It starts to open up, okay? As soon as it started to creak open, somebody dropped in, fertilized the flower. She got pregnant. They're in a relationship. Done. Fertilization done. Okay. And I thought to myself, this is interesting. Because one of the things that the matchmakers always tell you is to, when you are dating, have some patience, have discipline, blah, 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 blah. And I didn't understand why they said that. But now I understand. When we as women, or even men, when we start to clean ourselves up and we start to develop ourselves and germinate and blossom and start to flourish, that sweetness it's very attractive to the outside world. It's very attractive to the outside world. It's like people cannot contain themselves. They're like, oh my God, what is that smell? It smells like perfume. I must have it. And there's levels to this. There's layers to this. So if you germinate at the beginning, right, you get a certain level. That first level is the ones who are thirsty. They are thirsty. They're thirsting for. They have no patience. They cannot wait until you are finished baking. They must eat the cookie right now. Give me it right now. I must eat it. Okay, they have no patience. So they come in and they try to put ownership. They want to quick ownership. I must own this. Let me fertilize it. Let me stamp my name. And that's it. Okay? But if you, as the flower, are so dedicated to yourself and to your growth that you must see your blossom full. You want to see all of your petals open, all of your blooming in full grandeur, in full effect. Then it doesn't matter who comes. You will wait. You will wait. You will allow that flower to continue to bloom. I mean, and the bloom is so luscious. I'm talking about it. My mouth is watering. The bloom is luscious.
I was just imagining it.
It's beautiful. Sometimes I watch this nature show and they show flowers opening and closing and opening and closing. And sometimes you just see them do a slow-mo and every single petal, every single and then something will come up from inside and bloom again. It's nature, and we are nature. Women, every single woman is a symbolic walking, breathing, living, breathing representation of nature.
Yes.
So it's like
our
that.
Our womb is literally the universe.
Literally.
Literally.
Literally. Okay. I only got that lesson when I took an ultrasound and she put the ultrasound up and it looked like a night sky. And she said, "These are your eggs. They look like stars in the sky."
Wow.
They look like stars. It was
beautiful. Beautiful.
So I hope I have not taken up too much time.
No, you haven't. We're listening. Go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, because I remember before you were saying. So that is the thing. When you are in that process of really becoming and being dedicated to you don't allow anything to derail you. You don't allow anything to derail you. Naysayers cannot throw you off the path. Naysayers cannot confuse your mind with self-doubt. You have to start to look at yourself and say, hey, am I worth it or not? Because if you continue to play the self-sacrifice game, then you will continue to be played. The matter is gone. Jesus has come and gone. He's come and gone. Why do that to yourself? So that was really the big lesson. Once I left, I really started to work more on me. I started to work more on me, and there was so much that I had to learn about becoming whole. Becoming whole. I didn't realize I too was a fragmented version of myself, which is why I had attracted people who were also fragmented versions of themselves. Okay, I wasn't finished baking. I wasn't finished cooking. I wasn't finished blooming. So letting go allowed me the time, the opportunity, the freedom, the space for my soul to really become nourished. And I just traveled. I spent the entire 2-year period nomading, which means that I spent anywhere from 6 weeks to 3 months in each location in Africa, and then I will move on to another location. And after I because I think we started the program when I was in Kenya.
I believe so.
Yeah, I was in Kenya when we started. And yes, I was because I was with my friend. I was in Kenya. So yeah, it was just a really beautiful experience for me. Um, I didn't know I was that strong. I didn't know I was that resilient until being put to the test. And so often we do the spiritual work, we do the spiritual work, we do the spiritual work, and then we have an exam, right? Now we're
Ah,
going to test you. Now we're going to see what all of this means. You
girl,
did your mantras, woke up
girl,
early, you said what you said, you remember? Okay. Now, here's the test.
that part, the exam, the final, or the
The final,
midterm.
okay? So, and sometimes they'll be good to you and give you a pop quiz, but we really hate pop quizzes. We freak out when we have a pop quiz. We don't tend to do well
Listen,
because we're like, what?
I had a pop quiz during the full moon last week. Oh, I
Oh,
failed abysmally. Oh,
oh no, it's okay, it's
I
okay.
forgot everything.
So now at least that's giving you notice that the test is coming. The test
Right.
is coming.
That was the pretest. That was
That
the
was the
preparedness
that
meeting.
that was pop quiz. We are
Right.
giving you warning. So,
That was a pop
I
quiz.
I didn't have pop quiz. I just had it's go mode, and I did what I needed to do. And I know that I've abandoned the concept toy. I used to think, and this is something that I recognize as a program. I used to think if I can do it, you can do it. Like if I can do it, you can do it too. Anybody can do this. Anyone can do this. We all are capable. Now I'm understanding that no, we are not. We are not. Because some people get up at 5 a.m. and go to the gym. So that means they can do 20 push-ups easily. And I cannot. Okay. So it's impossible for us um to really to really uh look at ourselves and not acknowledge all of the things that have gone into becoming, all the things that have gone into being that made me prepared for that experience. And so if you're trying to figure out how to let something go right now, what you have to do is start at the level that you're at. You
Mm.
may not be able to let go of 13-year marriage, or moving out of the house of where your children are, or letting go of your brand new car. You may not be able to you may not be. For me, I didn't just let go of these things. I let go of the entire country. It was the entire country. The whole country was a narcissist. The whole country had to go. So you may not be able to do that, but you start where you are. What is ailing you? What is ailing you? What is taking from you more than it's putting in? What have you been allowing to sit by your side that is not adding to your value or adding to your vibration? What have you been tolerating?
Mm.
What have you been negotiating with? Okay, if this happens one more time, then I'll do this. If this is this, and if X is plus Y minus B squared, stop it. Stop that.
Yes.
Stop. You have better things to be doing with your time, with your energy, with your mental capacity than to be negotiating with your heart, with your soul, with your time, with your love, with you. Why are you putting yourself on the
I
line like that? Stop
say,
it. Don't do that.
I say,
Be- be-
self-sacrifice.
Stop it.
But you know what? I also learned that some people are afraid to. They don't know how to love themselves.
Mm-hmm.
People don't know how to love themselves, and they think that when they do love themselves, that they shouldn't. They think that it's coming from a vain place. But
Mm,
nobody can love you like you. Nobody. No matter
that's
how much
facts.
they say it,
That's
no matter
facts.
how much affection they show, nobody knows
Facts.
what you need. And
That's facts.
you cannot love another the way they can love themselves.
Right. And no,
It
and
was
this is not to advocate. for romantic relationships. I'm an advocate for all relationships. And I just want to say that
Exactly.
again.
Yes,
I want you to
let's clarify that.
let's clarify, because I believe in king and queen. That's what I believe in. That's what I believe
Ashe.
in. Like
Ashe.
I am a big believer that king and queen can win on the board. This is a game. King and queen will
Ashe.
win. Okay, so let's not twist that up. But I will say this: if you truly love this other person, wouldn't you want to give them and be in relationship with them at the best version of yourself? Like, even the concept, because like I said, I was a fracture of a person. Like, imagine that little doll that we draw, right, with the legs and the body. There was holes all in that.
Mm.
Holes. There was holes in my arm. Part of my arm was missing. Parts of my shoulder wasn't there. Parts of my torso was gone. Parts of my leg
Wow.
was off.
My godfather said that he had to tell somebody before, fill your own holes.
That's it. That's it. And so I was walking around, and imagine I am running a household with two adults outside of myself, four children, two cats, being the mother, the matriarch of my family. And my family means my mother, my brother, my father, my auntie, I me. And then on top of that, running a business, healing with women and their families. I was doing a lot. So for me, it's like, how am I doing so much? And I'm a fraction. I'm a fraction of myself. How can I fully enjoy someone? I can't enjoy them because I'm not sure. I'm not even attracting what I'm supposed to attract. I'm attracting what I am. I'm fractured, so I'm attracting fractured. I'm attracting people who are not well, who are not whole, who are dealing with mental health challenges, who are dealing with physical challenges, who are dealing with spiritual challenges. So it really for me, letting go was about freedom. I just had to sit and ask my spirit, what do you need to sustain yourself? What do you need? And it was like, get rid of all of, go. I'm done with this. I'm done with this. I'm done with trying to be in a place where I cannot thrive. I'm not here to live. I'm here to thrive. So if I can't thrive here, it's
So
time for
so
me to
how
move
so
on.
how did you start thriving?
So thriving came
That's what we need
after.
to hear now.
I think that's part two. I feel like thriving is part two. First part, release, let go. Okay. Thriving didn't come to me until after my holes started to get filled. So I had to go through the process of healing and healing and healing and healing and healing. And part of that healing was sacred woman. Part of that healing was learning how to transition. Part of that healing was being in a community with sisters. Part of that healing was releasing the mental programming from the matrix. Part of that healing was releasing expectations people have placed on me. Part of that healing
Mm,
was ceasing to compare myself to anyone else. Part of
mm,
that healing was accepting myself and not being afraid to walk into the room and look people in the eye and say, peace and greetings. I am Goddess
mm,
Queen Jamila Offset.
mm,
That's who I am. What else? What are we talking about? Because we
mm,
do that sometimes. We even get we're like, who am I to call myself? Who am I to say this? How can I introduce myself like that? Does this say I'm cocky? Does it say I'm conceited? I don't care what they say. I can only care about who it is that I am and how it is that I show up. And if I'm being authentically
mm.
true and aligned to that vibration of being, that is it. That is my full responsibility.
I say. And there's people that are afraid to show up like that for themselves. to
For
show up
sure.
bold like that. They
Itoy,
go
it's
home,
most
they have a
people.
whole other,
It's
yes,
most.
they go home
It's
and
not. It's not.
have a whole
It's
other
not some.
personality, and they get out in the world, it's something different.
Period. And it's
Mm,
not. It's not. It's not a coincidence. It's not coincidental. We all were programmed the same way. We all had the same influential factors telling us, no, not you. I put up a post on Instagram that people got triggered by. I wouldn't say people. I would say non-melanated or not non-black women got triggered by. I found it funny how in 2020 or maybe it's 2019, um, something miraculous happened in history. After 400 years of America telling black women that you're ugly, your skin complexion is ugly, your body shape is ugly. They had Venus Hottentot, where they would torture this woman, put her in chains because her butt was
yes,
so big, right?
yes.
They would examine our
Now they
bodies as if
mimic
there
us.
was something, right? They would examine us and torture us with no medication and examine our womb space, right? We've been demoralized, we've been stepped on, we've been spit on, we've been raped, molested, and beaten. But after 400 years, you mean to tell me black woman is first lady, black woman take Miss America, black woman take Miss Teen, black women take Miss USA, black women take Miss Universe, black women take Miss Teen USA. How is it? How is it? We are so ugly. But we have taken every award for beauty. Tell me, make this make sense. Make it make sense how doctors are being requested to do body surgery to look like us. How is it? We are ugly, right? So how is it? So
Right.
it's part of the mental mind game. The only thing that our oppressors have had over us is that they know how to manipulate the mind. It is
Ha!
literally mind. It's a mind game. It's one of the reasons why I told my son, as soon as we get back home to Tanzania, I'm putting you in chess classes. You are going back to chess classes because you have to master. If you want to win the game, you have to master your mind, from focus
They
to
say
discipline to
the
understanding
the
who
main
you
thing
are.
of how they broke a slave was take the mind, leave the body.
That's it. The
That's it
mind
right
toy.
there.
The mind. And it's like, for me, I was so focused. We are so focused sometimes, spirituality, because as black people, as indigenous people, we are spiritual. We are divine. Look at me, I'm divine. I'm here with my locks just chilling. I look like Shirley Temple, but locked. I look like Cleopatra and Isis and everything else. So goodness, I look like I taste good. I look, and it's divinity. It's divinity. That is what we carry that. But it's not just about the soul. You have to mind the body, and you definitely have to take care of the mind. Your mind is your biggest assets. Your mind and your
I
intestines.
say,
Those are two of the biggest things. I will end by saying this. I will end by saying that um I never really understood the concept of spiritual warfare. I didn't really
ha!
understand that. I didn't understand that, right? I um I would hear about it from my mom. She'd talk, I'm gonna get my spiritual warriors together. We're in spiritual warfare. And I'm like, Mom, I don't know what this is. Do you have swords? Do you have shields? What does this look like? I didn't understand it until this year. Okay. And this year, um, I was in Mexico, and when I was traveling, I was going from a more remote area called Oaxaca, and Oaxaca is the state in Mexico. Mexico's huge, y'all, and it's a state in Mexico that Afro Mexicans live in and reside in. So I was going from Oaxaca to Cancun to make my way to fly out of Mexico. And as I was leaving,
I know it. I know exactly. I know exactly where you're going with this.
where am I going?
Go ahead.
You don't know where I'm going. I
The
didn't tell you.
spiritual. Oh, I know where. Oh, I know where you're going. I
I
got you. Go
didn't
ahead.
tell you. All right. So,
But I know where you're going, and I have a
all right.
rebuttal
Well,
for it as well because I went
let's
through the
see.
same
Let's
thing.
see.
My nervous breakdown. Go ahead. Go
So
ahead.
I was traveling, and while I was traveling, um, something started to shift in my body, and all of a sudden I started to get crazy diarrhea, crazy. And I mean, the first day when I arrived in Cancun, I was wiped out. My energy was depleted. I had to run errands, and I barely walk. I could barely walk. I had an appointment for someone to do Reiki for me, and she started to do the Reiki. And when she started to do the Reiki, she said, "You have cords. That one is in your heart, and two are in your intestinal area." So she worked on that, but I still continued to feel just really low energy, and all night my bowels were running. My body could not hold it food, could not hold water. And so I was like, okay, I don't know what this is, and I don't like to take medicine, but I'm gonna take something because this is not normal. In the night when I'm sleeping, I had to get up in the middle of the night, and I'm changing, I'm getting soiled. It was just too much. So I got I got I want to say I got enough medicine just to last me for one day. And the next day I got some herbs. And then I made my journey back to the States so I can come to my mother's house. And when I came to my mother's house, um, my mom, she's an herbalist. She may never identify that, but she's an herbalist. My mother had everything here. My daughter gave me wormwood, which is antifungal. They had apple cider vinegar here for me. They had what is this thing called? Oil of oregano. They had tea tree for me. They had everything I needed to ingest and take. They had moringa seeds for me.
You said you said mugwort.
They no, they had wormwood.
Oh, wormwood. Okay.
Tea tree oil of oregano. They had everything, turmeric, thyme, anything I needed. Moringa. I was in Africa for 2 years. I never had this thing happen to me. And I used to take moringa all the time. So everything was here for me. And I did a reading because I was so confused. It took me some time to purge this thing from my body, and I had to identify that it was a parasite. There's a parasite that infected me, and I had to identify that. And I did a pendulum reading, and I said, where did this come from? Because I had a dream. I was dreaming, and I had just taken this what did they call that? um Turpentine. So I had taken turpentine, and I went to sleep. And in the dream, the message just came so clear. This is not just a parasite, this is spiritual warfare. And I said, whoa, I woke up immediately. I called my friend priestess. I said, I need a pendulum reading right now. I don't have anything, just do one. She did one, and I went through and asked, and it was confirmed, spiritual warfare. And it was so ironic because, like I said, I never believed in spiritual warfare. I never
I
thought it
told you I
existed.
knew where you was going with it.
I didn't think it existed. I didn't When I think about spiritual warfare, I think about someone dedicating so much energy to you. Someone feeling some type of way about you so strongly that it affects your spirit, that your spirit is disturbed. And I said, okay, what could I have done? What could I have done to alter this, to really protect myself? And one of the things that came up for me was that I have to continue to adhere to
You
taking
said you have
care
to
of
what? You said
myself.
you have to what?
Continue
You breaking up. You
to
said you have to what?
adhere, continue to adhere to the ways that I take care of myself. Toy, I didn't have my medicine bag. I didn't have my herbs. I didn't have my remedies. I was in Oaxaca. I was naked. I was without spiritual backing, spiritual shield. And that is how the parasite was able to come in. So I'm saying that because I want to remind you, if you are listening, that when it comes to letting go and stripping everything away, taking everything away, releasing everything, letting everything go, remember you have a singular priority. And your priority is to make sure that you take care of yourself, mind, body, and spirit. And whatever tools you need to take care of yourself through the process, you have to stick to those tools. Don't ever abandon those tools. Whether it's mind hacks, if there's mind exercises that you do, if there's physical exercises, yoga, whatever it is that you do, don't ever use another person as a distraction. Oh, I can't do it because I have my baby is here. I don't want to disturb him in the morning. I don't want to do yoga anymore. Do it. Do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself. Do whatever you need to do to sustain yourself. Do what you need to do to thrive. This is not about surviving anymore. We are in the dawn of a new era. Okay. We are in the age of Aquarius. We're no longer surviving. We're thriving because we're here. Give thanks and praise.
So, so
I'll end on
thanks
that.
and praise, because this, what you just spoke of, was supposed to is going to be my season finale episode, because that's why I had a nervous breakdown. That's why I said I knew where you was going. On my second show, I had King Simon, peace, give thanks and praise to them, and Ella Sin Nedra. She's also a priest as well, and she spoke on that briefly in the second episode. And I said, "Oh my God!" And if you go back, we was talking about that, about how the spiritual warfare and how it plays with your mental, and who are you talking to, and you having these thoughts. Who are you talking to? What entity are you talking to? When you are sick and you have high blood pressure, that's not you. That's an entity. When you have anxiety, that's not you. That's an entity. You feel me? So when I went through that nervous breakdown, see, I was supposed to say this all at my last episode, but I feel as though I need to say it because I told you I had a quiz, a pop quiz during the the full moon. So during my nervous breakdown, first of all, I'm not gonna go get into too much, because we can't say but too much. I
Yeah.
said spiritually. But what I will say is, when I had that nervous breakdown, I was sensitive to all the energies, right? So now I'm realizing, as I'm healing, I'm realizing that this is a spiritual warfare that I'm going through. I was the energies, when you are attached to fear, the spirit and the energy of fear is attached to that, and it show up in your body. When you have has an insecurity, the spirit of insecurity and that energy will show up in your body. And every time I did work, I will literally feel it lift off my body. Case in point, I had my grandfather had died many years ago, and I'm bringing him up for a reason. He died many, many years ago when I was a little girl, over 20 something years ago. And he got cremated. He passed, I was about 11, 12 years old. But I was so attached to him. Um, I asked, can we, instead of throwing his ashes away, can we keep them? I was a little girl. I was 12 years old. I didn't know anything. And y'all adults wanted to get rid of the ashes. Y'all should have got rid of that. School me as a child. So my aunt was holding on to these ashes for all these years. So now that I'm grown, you wanted him, you can have him now. I didn't want him. My spirit didn't want it. But I just so you know what? I'll take him. I took him. And when I took him, when I tell you, I felt energy on my womb. Remember, when we was going through the rites of passage, what I kept talking about, my womb. So now he's in my house.
Mm.
Turmoil,
Wow.
turmoil. When he was alive, he caused havoc and turmoil.
Wow.
But I didn't think, yeah, I'm not gonna get into stories of what he done, whatever like that while he's alive. But those things was manifesting in my home, and I couldn't understand what was the problem. What's the problem? So now I done had this nervous breakdown. Now, my godfather comes into my life because my father had just passed a few months before. Now my godfather comes into my life and he's telling me to get rid of everything. Get rid of all your altars. Start over. There's too much energy in here. Get rid of everything. I had to, lift the glasses up to elevate my spirit, things of that nature. So by the time I went to go do the water work, by the time I went to go do the water work to release my grandfather's ashes, when the box that he was in, whew, uh, hit the water, that pain that was coming from the top of my head, going all the way down to the side of my face, that was making me damn near in stroke mode, lifted off of me. I
Wow.
felt it instantly lift off of me. I said, oh, okay. This is why they say you're supposed to bury the dead, not burn the dead. Put them back in the earth where they came from.
Mm.
So all this is all little bits and pieces of what I'm going to be talking about on the season finale when it comes to mental health. And also,
Mm.
who are you talking to? When you have these thoughts in your head, you got to be careful who you're talking to, because there's energies out there that will latch onto you because of who you are and will show up, and it will be a trickster and show up as your actual guide or actual Egun, or actual ancestor, and they're not. And then
Mm.
you're going through the mental craziness, and you going through the world like, I can't understand why I can't get my life right,
Right.
because you got entities attached to you. And when you talk about intestine, when I was talking to my godfather, he said, take a good shit.
Mm-hmm.
He said, eat, and I knew this already. I knew all this already because this kept manifesting. I kept learning. I kept saying, okay, this energy here, because this energy will wake me up out of my sleep.
Mm.
I commit myself to sleep. Now I'm telling you, I couldn't tell you. I didn't feel comfortable saying that we was going through the rites of passage. I couldn't.
Right.
This energy was waking me up out of my sleep. I couldn't eat. I kept hearing, certain things. There just was a lot of things going on. And as a medium, you communicate to the other side, whether people
Mm-hmm.
believe it or not. You know,
Mm-hmm.
everybody not
Mm-hmm.
ready for that because they still living in the matrix. But when you're a
Right.
medium, when you have that light, you have energies from the other side that wants to come to you for help, for prayer, or for this, or for whatever, what have you. So now you have to discern what it
Right.
is, and some of them don't want to leave. And I was going through a weak state at that time. I wasn't in my power because why? I was depressed because my father had died. My marriage was in shambles. We was, separated. Things was happening with my children, and I wasn't in my power. So that's how they was able to take over my life.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? So
I
now
felt.
they got to learn. They got to learn all the low vibrations that's within inside you, and they stay attached to that. That's why they say you have to die in order to be reborn, because they
Mm.
attach to the old you. They attach to the low vibrations.
Right.
So if you let it all go, that's what we talking about, letting go. So if you let it all go, you let go all the negative entities and spirits that's attached to you and energy that's attached to you. So I started to realize I was already a health nut. but my health started. My health, yeah,
Mhm. That's so
that right there.
so
So I
true.
already was a health nut, but being that I went into a deep depression, I stopped taking care of myself. Remember how
Mhm.
you said you stop taking care of yourself, things of that nature? So now, the natural way to heal, you could do rituals, you could do spells, you could do whatever you want to do. But the most powerful thing, baby, is health.
Yes.
Nothing
It,
can penetrate
that's
that.
wealth. That's wealth. That's
That's the
wealth.
wealth.
That's
Nothing can penetrate
wealth.
that.
Yeah.
So I started realizing, I'm like, me, the athlete? Me running track, me the tomboy, I got high blood pressure and anxiety. I couldn't fathom it. I
Yeah.
couldn't understand it. And I kept hearing my spirit, my assigned guide kept showing up loud. My Edgoon that's protecting me kept saying, that's not you. That's
Mm.
not you, Lisa. That's not you. That's not you. That's not you. I'm
Mm.
like, yes, that's not me. This is not me. They
Mhm.
attracted to they into themselves through the low vibrations. If I'm eating low vibrational food, if I'm thinking low vibration, if I'm in low vibrational energy, that was their gateway in.
Right.
So now I'm like, you know what? I got to get back into eToy. Now when I'm getting outside in the sun, I'm eating better. I'm making sure my intestinal tract is clear. I don't
Mm.
feel the energy anymore.
Right.
But as soon as I slip up, I will feel that energy because they lingering, trying to wait for me to mess up.
Right.
So
And you
when
know
you so
that I was just gonna
yeah,
say that that defense system is a big deal. You know, um when we are without our defense system, anything can come on in, right?
what? What?
Anything can come on in. Um Listen, I remember I was in the last place I was in Mexico, in Oaxaca again. I was walking through the hallway, and in the hallway they have this light. It's an open light. And as you walk through the hallway, well, as I'm walking through the hallway, I'm completely disgusted because there's so many bugs all over the place, right? And I started to think about this. I was like, wow, every time the light switches on, here come all the low, small insects coming to the light, flying to the light, buzzing around the light. Every time that light switch comes on, they're there. And if the light has a cover, the light stays protected. But if the bulb is just hanging and open,
I get
then
it. I get what you're
any
saying.
insect could come in. That's it. And the thing is, sometimes the light is so powerful that the bug will sit on there until it burns itself. It will burn itself. It will die trying to eat off of that light. But if that light is low, if that light is weak, then it doesn't have the ability to do anything. It's just a vessel for that parasite to come and sit and take advantage of it. So it's important when we think about letting go, you know, get scientific about it. Write down in ranking order what is taking up most of your energy.
Ha!
Make a list. First, I'm giving my energy to this. Then I'm giving my energy to that. Second, third, I'm giving fourth, fifth. Write a list of the top 10 things that you are pouring your energy into. And if you can't find yourself on that list, if you're somewhere on level 8, if you're somewhere at number 10, if you make 10 and you're somewhere in the next list starting with 11, then that means 1 through 11 needs to be knocked down. We need to cut. We need to cut. We need to release. We need to release. You were created to be someone else's battery. I know the Matrix has you thinking that because that's what the Matrix is all about. The system is all about plugging you in and making sure you are the
Ha!
battery to keep this thing going.
Yes.
But that's actually not your purpose. That's not why you're here. So I'm just going to end with that because I can be here with you. You know, you and I, we have a problem.
Yes, we do. But you
We have
know
a
what? But you know what? I want you and Ellison to be, and my godfather, because I said I was ending it with him. I have to have my Baba there. So 'cause that particular,
birthday.
that has to be, that podcast has to be blessed. And we
Yes.
have to make sure all doors and all portals are closed so that
Ashe.
nothing can enter that, because we're going to go deep with that.
Ashe.
That
Ashe.
man, my Baba Olu, breathing with Orisha, that man saved my
Oh,
life.
Ashe.
Do
Ashe.
you hear me?
Ashe.
I say,
Ashe.
oh,
Yes, sis.
he is an
Yes.
Ogun, he is an Ogun priest, and I
Oh,
love that man. He's
come on.
Ogun.
Yes. Come
And
on.
guess what? And guess what? He's younger than me.
Wow.
How
Okay.
humbling, how humbling was that for me?
That's a big deal.
But he's older than me in spirit,
Of
because
course.
he's been initiated since he was 13.
Ashe.
And
Ashe.
he's such a wonderful spiritualist, and he's such a wonderful Baba, and I'm so grateful for him. But
Ashe.
yes, I definitely want to have you and Ellison, and my godfather has to be there for that conversation, because he used to always say, "Who are you talking to?" He's go, "Who is that? Who is he?" They have names.
Mm, mm,
You
Ashe.
feel me? And I want to talk about all of this, have all these episodes about mental health, and then end it on that and say this is the reason why things are
Mm-hmm.
happening. But I'm also say this: the elite know. Let me
Always.
stop talking before my podcast gets shut down.
Just here, guys. I'm just guys and gals. I'm just here as a
I'm
special
gonna just leave
guest.
it on that.
Okay.
I'm gonna just leave it on that. Liz, the
Listen,
elite
and
know.
we can pick up that mantle on the next conversation, because that would be really great to dive further into that. You know, you and I have sat with some very powerful elders who've been doing the work for longer than we've been alive, and who have exposed us to life forms and dimensional thoughts that that give us a full awareness, that enhance our awareness and our ability to go deeper. So, you know, during that conversation, I would welcome some more, you know, when it comes to understanding the system, because so many of us are only theoretically aware, you know, just theoretically aware. And you know, to jump off, because I don't want my phone to die in the middle of us talking. I'm on like 3%, 3.5%. um but I will just say that it's so interesting. For the last 2 years, we've been plagued by fear of a COVID something. You know, the plans there, the system is supposed to be crumbling to the ground right now, but we were distracted. Everyone was distracted. They so refused to leave that they're willing to create COVID to maintain systematic stuff. And remind me when we have this discussion about the system, I will tell you all about Lil Wayne. My brother was working at a Lil Wayne concert when he came to Atlanta years ago. And there was something really mystical that happened. And so I want to bring that up. So just remind me. But I will just say that nothing that has happened in your life is coincidence. And especially not when you hear everyone talking about the same thing. Everyone struggling with self-worth, everyone struggling with self-love, everyone struggling with this, everyone being attached and being too afraid to let go. It's not coincidence. We have
No, it's
all been
not.
programmed. So if you know you've been programmed now, do something. Wake up, get help, start to dive in, start to if you're listening right now, you're like, okay, she's speaking to me, but I don't know where to start. The thing is, start somewhere.
Start
Start
where
by
you
stopping the video and doing something. We have to be action oriented. You can't just take information and listen to it. First of all, if you're enjoying this, have you shared it? You don't have people you love. You don't have people who need to hear this as well. Why are you not sharing? I see no shares. Is that me? Is it my screen? Do you see any shares? Share with your mom. Your mom. your brother, your sister, your friends, everyone that you know who can benefit. Share it with them. Stop hoarding this for yourself. Share it with them. That's a big thing that we have to understand. We are community. We can only go as high as our weakest link. That's the thing. So it's time for us to wake up and take action. If you want to do something and you want to break out, you have to take letting go, throwing things away. All of those things are action steps. Start the process. And I'll just leave it at that. My book, Goddess Awakening.
Yes, where can everyone find you? Goddess Queen Jah. Hello.
You can
My
you can
sacred
you can
sister.
you can add my gram. You can add me on Instagram. Okay, I'm probably the most authentic goddess that's ever existed. I likely am. I'm the first. I'm all set. So you can add me on the gram. Goddess Queen Jah asked. It's Goddess Queen underscore Jah JAH asked. And then I'm also on Facebook, Goddess Queen Jah asked. But the best way to understand more about what I am teaching is to download the book Goddess Awakening. God is awakening. Okay? God is awakening. God has awakened. She has awakened. Okay? So please, 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 please connect with me. And if you want to go further, I offer courses, I offer retreats. I'm having my second international retreat in Rwanda in September. So if you are interested in coming with us, we will be in Rwanda for 10 days doing ceremony, diving deeper. We are entering into the cosmic mother of Earth. We're entering into the vortex of the mother. We are aligning ourselves with Earth, because so many women, we are creators, but we don't know how to create at the level that Earth does. Earth is a masterful creator, the original creator. So we are tuning into the vibration of
So,
creating at that level. So there's so many different ways to connect with me. I appreciate everyone who has stayed and shared and liked my YouTube channel, Goddess Queen Jamila. I don't know what Jamila or Asata. That's it. I think you tagged it. I don't know, but I love you. I love you all so much, and I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for your evolution, for your learning. I give thanks for Toy being such a great teacher and being consistent with this thing here,
give
because
thanks.
we were fighting with her. We were fighting. We were ready. We were in Mesh Connect, and it was time. It was time. She had a calling. It was time. It's time to talk. Okay, so she answered the call, and I give thanks for her, and I give thanks for you.
So, I give thanks, give thanks, give
Give
thanks.
thanks. So I
So
love
before
you, Toy.
I
I will
love you
let you
too.
close out because
I
I
love
don't
you
want the
too.
camera to.
Because I know your camera's getting ready to go.
Yeah,
I want to say to you, thank you, my
you're welcome.
sister. Thank you. I appreciate you and I love you.
Always.
And I will speak to you soon. And thank
Give
you
thanks.
for coming here with your grace and your blessings and blessing my podcast.
It's
I
such an
greatly
honor.
appreciate
It's an
you.
honor. My sister, it's an honor. You're stuck with me. All right, we'll talk soon.
Definitely.
Blessings, everyone.
Blessings. Love you. Yes. So that was my sis, Goddess Queen Jah asked. Like I told y'all earlier, that was going to be a good one. We touched on a lot of things, and we also touched on what I was going to be speaking about in my season finale. I want to have her, Elosin Nadra, and of course my Baba Olu, to bless us with that podcast. Um, I have a lot to say on mental health, but I just wanted to just give y'all a brief of what people go through, touch the surface, the mundane, you know. But who are you talking to? When you hear the voices, who are you talking to? When you have ailments pop up in your body, are you really sick, or is it an entity or energy that's living in your body? You have to move that energy out of your body and understand that you were divinely created by the hands of the Most High. So you were created perfectly. So you should not have any ailments in your body. So when you do, just think about who is that? Who is that? Because, like I said, when I had that nervous breakdown and I went through my letting go phase, I realized there was entities that was showing up in energies and portals inside of my body, and I had to remove it. So we just touched lightly. If y'all like that, huh, stay tuned because that season's finale is probably gonna make you tear up, and it's gonna make you look at yourself like I need some spiritual work done. So with that note, I want to say thank you again. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for staying this long. I didn't think that we was gonna go an extra 50 minutes. It's only supposed to be an hour. I tell you, I'm supposed to do this thing only for an hour, and I'm always going an hour and a half, 2 hours. Hey, what can I say? We have great conversations. So I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to everyone. Thank you, Clemmy. Thank you, Pretty Lotus. Thank you, Chef Amira. Thank you, Coach Wuyanzi. I hope I'm saying it right. Thank you, Stacy White. Thank you, King Simon. I love you. Thank you, Morgan. Thank you, Il Flex. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And of course, thank you to my guest, Jamila Asata. And I also want to say thank you to the community that's on Facebook. When I air on Facebook, I cannot see your comments live. I always see it after the fact when I go back and I look. So I just want to say thank you to the viewers that's on Facebook as well. Y'all always share, y'all always like, y'all always comment. So I just want to say thank you for that. And also, I always challenge y'all after every show, what did you do for yourself today? Did you love on yourself today? Go do something for you. We wake up in a rambunctious, a crazy world. We wake up having to do things on our to-do list. When you wake up, hug yourself. When you wake up, tell yourself you love yourself. Go in the mirror before you do anything for anyone else. Do something for you. Because remember, you came into this world by yourself and you're going to go by yourself. Love yourself. Be gentle on yourself. Do something sweet for you. Whatever that is that sings to your heart. Because that's also a part of mental health. We go in this world every single day. We waking up, we have to go to someone's job to fulfill their mission and their dream. And they give us pennies for it when we bust our humps. Well, I don't work for nobody now. That's why I left some years ago because that was a part of my mental health too. But there was a time when I did that and I worked harder for them than I did for myself. So you make sure you do something for you. Be gentle on yourself and be easy on yourself because you are all you have. Once the kids are grown, if you and your boyfriend or your wife or your husband, whoever, if y'all having to split or your spouse may pass on, you have you. Your parents, you have you. Always remember that. So love yourself, be gentle on yourself, and I'm going to challenge you every single time. After you hang up tonight, do something special for you. Whether it's taking 5 minutes to yourself in the bathroom, whether you're going to take a shower and put clothes on just to walk around the house and feel good. God bless my father. He in the spirit world now. He used to always say, when you look good, you feel good. So make sure you love on yourself and make sure you do something for you. I love you all. Thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned because we got some great things coming up. July 30th, I'm going to be motivational speaking at Easy Living Shelters, youth suicide awareness event. Yes, me, motivational speaker. I would have not but thought this. I would have been doing this year. But yes, and guess who's also going to be there? Eric Mayer Adams. I'm going to be beside Eric Mayer Adams speaking. I can't believe this. Also, we have me and my business partner. We're throwing some shows. We're gonna be throwing some showcases. So we looking for artists. I'm gonna have some flyers up soon. We looking for artists, comedians, spoken word, We're gonna one day is locked in, August 18th, and we're gonna have it at Harlem Nights. That date, August 18th, is locked in. I'm also looking for vendors as well. And if you want to be a part of the showcase, and you want to come, do your songs or your rap or your stand-up comedy or your spoken word, please contact me. You could DM me on eToy. It's an experience on Facebook. Yeah, we got some good things coming up, and on that show, I will be live on the podcast. So stay tuned. So again, love yourself, do something for yourself, and show for yourself, and be gentle for yourself. I love y'all too. Give thanks, Ashe.